Welcome to Flat Earth Debate Live. I'm your host, Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe, hit the bell notification icon, and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a coffee, Patreon, crypto, and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now, we are joined by Neil, Brian, Refracted Curvature, and a whole bunch of people in Discord, so welcome one and all.
Hey,
I
good
would like
afternoon.
to say, guys, that Chihuahuas exist, but dogs aren't real. Just so you know.
I have no idea what that means. You sound better, though, so your mic's improved.
Well, that's when you express a contradiction within your own claim, you know, like saying level isn't level, or its level is curving, but you need level to be a straight line within the mathematics you use to claim drop. That's the same contradiction.
I just posted that in the chat, the Earth curve calculator there. As we can see, surface level and eye level is contradicting the description that this guy just brought up, a curved line. No, it's not. If it's a curved line, it's debunking the Earth curve calculator, which is Nathan's point. So one of the two must be wrong. And according to him, the Earth curve calculator is wrong, because level should be curved and it's not. Surface level and eye level are running parallel to one another, and the curvature is deviating away from it.
Just for the audience's good summary. Just for the audience's benefit, we have now put this to a guy who's in this Discord, and I kid you not, 5 times. The first 3 times he obfuscated and rumpused. The 4th time he went on server deafen, so he didn't have to listen to it. He was so terrified to hear how his assertion that level actually runs around a sphere surface. Because if it does, it annihilates Earth curve maths, which needs surface level and eye level to run parallel with one another. So it's been put to him, which is wrong. Your definition where level runs perpendicular to a spherical surface, which is absurd and an oxymoron, or Earth curve maths is void. He didn't want to answer. One of his cheerleaders told me that I was scared while he went on server deafen, so he didn't have to hear the 5th rendition of his annihilation in the pre-show. It's a guy called Omnivore or something similar. Nevertheless, shout out to Super Chatter Sensual Goat. He says a big thanks to Mush for clipping out PP and Bob. Also, kudos to Nathan and RC for your review. It's priceless. I can't stop grinning to myself. Yeah, I've trimmed out a couple of those. So if you check about member video, and there's one that went out to the public this morning. So if you're a member, great. I think I'm uploading it as we speak, or I'm rendering it, one or the other. That'll go out to members later on today. And there's one that went out to the public. So yeah, they're from yesterday's live show, where we covered Planet Peterson and Bob, the science guy, having a chit-chat about us. Isn't that fun? So we responded to that. Wasn't convoluted enough with them talking about us for us to respond to it. There we go. So check that out on yesterday's live show. Let's do a bit of housekeeping. Oh,
just before you do, Nathan.
There's another super chat that I've missed. Hold on. Oh no, it's Sensual Goat gifting out memberships. So yeah, I don't know how that quite works, but whoever got your free memberships, Jeff and Arwin and Slow Motion Moonbuggy and Mike 808, you've got free and Steve, free memberships. Thank you for smashing that free membership button, whatever it may be. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, the problem here is the numpty surveyors who are putting out these numpty definitions of level while having to use a completely different definition of level, which is horizontal, in their work. The problem is with surveying, begging the question and saying level is equidistant from the center of a sphere, but then level has to be horizontal for all of their elevation measurements throughout the whole world. Rise over run. All the horizontals are level. All the horizontals are parallel to each other. All the verticals are parallel to each other. That's rise over run. So the problem is surveying, begging the question. I said this years ago. Surveying put out these things that mean absolutely nothing, that they don't use and they can't use. It's purely mathematical, begging the question. If you look to any surveyor and ask him to bring you and for him to measure curvature, he won't be able to do it. That's the problem here.
Well,
the problem is stupid surveying definitions that have no relation to reality. That's the problem.
You say you covered it years ago. We collectively unpacked this about 7 years ago. And only, like I say, referring to yesterday's video, which maybe I'll trim this bit out too, Bob claims that I've just got a script because and then he did a poor rendition of begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking, earth curve calculations. Now that's not a script. Every word in that is defined based on what the calculation does. Now Brian's admirably just pointed out that it's merely a begging the question fallacy. Oh, well, level runs around a sphere. No, level is defined by your own calculations where it shows level being level. That'd be no part higher or lower than the other. If it's running around the sphere surface that's being derived from surface level in the earth curve maths, as per your definition, which is oxymoronic, then level isn't level and your maths fails. It all falls to pieces. Earth needs to be measured flat as a reference for horizontal, and that's precisely how it functions in globe claims. Not only will we require Earth be measured flat, you, when you make a globe claim, will require Earth be measured flat, because it is. Even when you're making your stupid nonsense claims about points around a sphere that are no longer level being level. It's moronic. But that's what you've got to do. You've got to define the very principles of your own mathematics if you're going to try and claim you're on a sphere, making you look very stupid at the end of the process, or being in fear of even hearing a question about the oxymoronic assertion of level not being level in a definition from quasi-surveyors, or the earth curve maths failing because level is no longer level according to the definition. Of course, that's terrifying to a fundy who's got a sphere belief. They couldn't bear to hear that. The guy in the pre-show put himself on server deafen after the 5th rendition. Terrified. Meanwhile, one of his cheerleaders projected that I was scared. It was very amusing. Check it out if you remember.
I did presentations on surveying, Nathan, years ago. That's why I'm saying that I pointed out in specific that they were begging the question. And I held Jesse Kozlowski to it for 4 days straight back in 2016, where he had to 4 days later, he had to admit that he didn't include angular size change.
Yeah, so did we.
Because he was taking away perspective and adding in our core.
Yeah, we did that with Jesse Kozlowski too. We are obviously running along parallel lines, you know. And if QE was involved in this conversation, he'd say, yeah, so did I. It's like, yeah, although we weren't united at that particular point, which we weren't, were we? None of us were. QE was doing it, you were doing it, I was doing it, we were all doing it.
I wasn't in on the shows. No.
Stuff shrinks towards the horizon. Yeah. We were all pointing it out. Hashtag shit shrinks.
Can it really be begging the question if they never apply it?
It's begging the question of the physical reality being the point below the surface level that they say is Earth curve, because they mark that with an X and call that the horizon. And the title in the calculation is Earth Curve Calculator. So absolutely without question, the assertion, regardless of its requirement to measure a flat Earth, is a begging the question calculation, yes.
Well, when you say the term drop, what are you dropping from?
Surface level.
In that mathematics?
Surface level.
Yeah, so they're not really begging the question. They're denying their own application.
Yeah, you know what? That actually might need some rethought in terms of the no longer defined, formally defined as begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator. Because it's flat Earth reliant proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve calculations, isn't it? They require a surface level. It's fundamental to the mathematics. So flat Earth
Indeed.
measuring proof of nothing perspective hijacking Earth curve calculator, perhaps?
Yeah, it's actually taking resolution loss and defining it as drop, but drop is still from surface level. Right. So even with, it's nonsense.
Brian, you're hot micing, my friend. We can hear your phone ringing. Brian. Can someone stick Brian on server mute? Right, let's do a couple of housekeeping questions. No, he managed to get there before someone... Can you take him back off server mute? He got there just before you did, whoever that did that. Thank you very much, all the same. Okay, right. Any evidence you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved baseline?
Negative. Elevation angle required is a horizontal plane.
So Earth's measured flat, then?
That's correct.
Oh,
well, spheres, they don't have horizontal planes. So whatever we're going to discuss, we're not talking about spheres.
Yeah, an elevation angle is a 90-degree angle. So no, we can't have that in sphere.
It's not. It's a 90-degree triangle that you're forming with an angle. But yeah, I knew what you meant. Yes. What about any evidence of a physical geometric sphere edge horizon, formerly known as Earth curve?
No, not physical, no. It moves with the weather. We all know that. And the Black Swan has debunked it in 2020.
Oh, we're hoping for great things from this server. Any scientific evidence of gravity?
Lots of maths, but no, not scientific evidence, no.
What normally goes on in Earth Awakenings? Do you not have loads of people offering you things like scientific evidence for gravity?
Yeah, oh my God, we would have got opposition on the first one. Yeah, I mean, these guys, run us through this rigmarole all day, every day. Pretty early in the morning here, so.
You're saying people are running you ragged?
Omni's only.
My bad. You're saying you're getting run ragged with scientific evidence of gravity, typically, Jeremy?
Everything, yeah. Gravity, all the arguments, yeah. Go through it all the time here, nonstop.
Well, I mean, could you give us...
You want me to try to see if I can get Zanuck in here for you?
No. Zanuck's a liar.
Nothing that doesn't have logical fallacies attached to it. That's the problem.
I see. I mean, I've had Zanuck declare that Earth's measured flat. You will need a horizontal baseline. You'll need a flat Earth. I've got him to say those words. Zanuck, that is. Yeah? When talking about measurement of what's on screen for my audience now, an elevation angle measurement with respect to Earth, Zanuck made it absolutely plain. It will need to be flat. He was the first. He was the first. He's the genesis of me twigging that all of their claims require Earth to be measured flat. For him, he was making a globe claim. But at the point of what's on screen now, an elevation angle measurement can only be done on a flat Earth. And he also disclaimed that. Now, Zanuck's about as slippery as they come, but he couldn't get around it. I've got it as a trimmed out clip and a short. Him declaring, yeah, it's got to be flat. Can't work any other way. This is the only way to navigate. Earth has to be flat. It is flat. It's measured flat, navigated flat. That's how these angles on screen now are measured with respect to a flat Earth.
May I ask, how is it going to help them if they scientifically establish a downward vector causing something? Since down is dependent upon a change in the horizontal along a vertical axis, which is relative to a flat plane.
They think it gets them out of the gas pressure without a container.
It actually doesn't. What? In either sense, the mass attracting mass gravity, which is still taught to children, is admittedly not actually a get around because it isn't the case. But in terms of their descriptions, if you took it at face value and didn't check if it was true or not, if you suggest that mass attracts mass, and that the mass of gas is going to be attracted to the mass of Earth, which is considerably larger, then gas would be going down. Right? In other words, at face value, you go, okay, that's an explanation for how the gas is held here. Right, well, because the mass of the gas is attracted to the mass of the Earth. Gas go down, go boom, boom, go splash, splash, forming puddles of gas on the ground. Well, number one, no. Gas does not do that. So in terms of Newtonian gravity in name only, actually CV Boys, Reverend John Michel Cavendish gravity, it's got a violation of gas behaviour when they assert that mass attracts mass. Enter Einsteinian fourth-dimensional space-time bending, which is a long road of nonsense and equations that is only there to confuse and distract you. It's like one magician waving his hand over here so you don't notice the coin he's about to put in your hand disappearing into his own pocket before he puts it in your hand. They distract you. So that's all it is. It's a distraction from the.
I mean, these guys still think Newton's.
Go ahead.
These guys still think Newtonian and Einsteinian mechanics are compatible. They don't even you should hear these debates we have. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I was just going to say. I'll just finish off that last point. The distraction with Einsteinian pseudo force space-time bending is from they're moving the scales. So they say that there's 1g. That's it. That's the only part of the trick that you don't need to necessarily notice when it's slipped in surreptitiously. But saying that there's 1g when you're doing nothing means that there's an orbital motion with you at 0g when you're moving around a sphere Earth in an orbit. But the nonsense of bent geodesics in space-time really has nothing to do with the boiled-down assertion that they need to be in place, that they can say, well, that comports with Newtonian mass-attracting mass, because you've got 1g acting on you. It's not a force when you talk about bent geodesics, and mass doesn't attract mass, but so long as you're confused enough to understand that 1g is you doing nothing, then job's a good one. That's me done.
Well, I just wanted to say
I was just going to say you're denying the gradient. Like what you said, gas doesn't do that. They say, well, so you're denying the gradient? Is there not a gradient? And then they just talk about a gradient for hours.
What kind of gradient?
Yeah, no, I know. Even if you tell them you need a container for it, it doesn't seem to matter.
And I'm going to need a flat plane for that.
Perfect.
Yeah, well,
it's 14.7 psi at sea level.
Stop at the time. One at a time. Stop. So Fuzzy Ewok. There's a subtle change in how we started approaching things in 2024, and it might have just slipped you by. George delivered it almost too quickly. But did you catch it before I patronise you?
Oh, no, I'm saying I agree with. I'm saying, yeah, that's all they're going to do is deny that you need a container for any of it.
No. I got that. Okay, yeah, it slipped you by. It's fine. So earlier in the show, or at the opening of the show, I explained that I would rather not take them to, or maybe it was in the pre-show, I forget. In either event, the idea that I should have to explain perspective isn't necessary, because the claim in that instance for the argument previous was that they need the heights of the mountain off a flat plane and level to be level, which is how their depiction would come in orthographic view for that claim. To say, why does the mountain get smaller at distance? Which is all they're really asking, because they've hijacked perspective. So, you with me so far, Ewok?
Oh yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah. What are they hijacking on this one?
A flat plane. So, George, now you're following. I've got you on track for George to now make that point. It's the right moment, George. Can you just reiterate your point? I don't want to steal your glory because you got there quicker than I did.
Well, the claim of the gradients of pressure, it starts at sea level with 14.7 psi going upwards into a vacuum of space. The claim of vacuum of space in Tor value, it starts at sea level. It requires a flat plane for that.
Did you catch it that time? Rather than arguing about gas pressure without a container, right, that debunks about space. Wonderful. And you're saying, oh, they just argue about a delta of gas pressure. A gas pressure, meaning it's going to be pressing on something, the container. Gradient. Yeah, the delta X argument doesn't overcome that you'll need a container for that argument. And you're right to point out that they just go around in circles with it if you allow them to. However, in 2024, we're saying, okay, what's the gradient that you are appealing to? a description from sea level. From sea level. So this description fundamentally requires a flat Earth just to describe the gradation of said pressure, Ewok. You're going to need a flat Earth for this, Delta X, that doesn't overcome a containment antecedent consequent relationship, but does need a flat Earth to make it as a Delta X failure. Did you follow?
I get you, but then they don't just say that water curves at a level rate, you know?
No, they've just told you that the gradiated pressure from sea level, that's how it's defined, will be as such, haven't they? That's how it is described. The pressure gradation is factually described from sea level.
Right, but in their mind they think that sea level is curving.
Right, but we covered this. We were for the pre-show.
I know they're wrong. But like that, now we're just back in a circle of going back to the same thing that they were talking about before.
You just have to annihilate it based on their own necessity for Earth to be flat. So moving into 2024, if you understand as a flat earther that all of their claims, without exception, will require Earth to be measured flat to make their claim, then you can, as I did with the omnivore guy at the beginning of the live and pre-show, pointed out how his assertion that there's an 8 inches per mile squared drop requires the differential between eye level and surface level in Earth curve maths. That is to say, if you take the argument as a baller in Devil's Advocate, Ewok, to, well, level's not level, level's curved. Not in your Earth curve maths, it's not. Here's parallel to surface level and eye level running parallel with it to make the assertion that the optical resolution loss, which is in reality what Earth curve maths really represents, gives you a below surface level horizon. Nonsensical, but absolutely requires a fundamental premise that level be level, not comporting with a sphere as their definition takes you in a circle jerk. So if they're going to take you to level's not level, point out how, because Earth is required to be measured flat, including in their claim, it just takes brass balls to do it. You've got to know Earth's measured flat to be able to have them over a barrel on this when they say level's not level. Yeah, it is. Earth's required to be measured flat, and your claim of a sphere, here's your ball Earth maths example with level being level in your maths. You've got to have brass balls because you're presenting them their own maths, which you'd hope that you wouldn't have to ever do. It's their claim of Earth curve, bringing in the begging the question, proof of nothing, perspective hijacking Earth curve maths, heaven forbid. But you can, because their own level not being level comporting with a sphere, which requires a flat plane to make that assertion, will require a flat Earth to measure to make the assertion. And it's right there in their maths. It's called surface level. You shove it right in their face. You'll need a flat Earth too, Fundy. Here it is in your maths. That's where, as he got a mention earlier, he'll get a second mention now, Zanuck got held over the exact same barrel because he needed to measure a flat Earth too for his globe-believing fundamentalist zealot belief.
Also, when they say mass attracts mass, causes gas to fall down, don't let them have that, because down is in relation to an inertial plane, even within their own mathematics. Newtonian mathematics is built on an inertial plane. The moment they deny that inertial plane, they can't have Newtonian mathematics anymore.
Yeah, they need a flat Earth more than we do, to quote John himself, who was just speaking. And it's absolutely correct. That was a very profound moment when you said that, John, because you were quite exasperated when they were essentially using the flat Earth to make their sphere claim. And you got exasperated when you need a flat Earth more than we do. Never a true word was spoken.
Yeah, every single claim without exception, whether it's in rebuttal to a point of fact, or whether it's a positive claim about the shape of Earth, is dependent upon surface level and eye level being a horizontal plane, 90 degrees to vertical.
I honestly believe this is why we haven't been censored out of existence. Yeah? You can talk about all sorts of different things, and if you're going against the scientific consensus on YouTube, they will delete you. But why is it that we get away with talking about it? Well, because we're not going against the scientific consensus, are we? Earth is actually measured flat, including for all sphere claims. It's a fundamental premise that's being used to navigate the Earth with. There's a reason they convert the maps back to flat, from spherical projections, as it's claimed to prove a sphere with. No, the original spherical projection that you're claiming this cylinder that's going to be rolled out flat to actually be functional was derived from a flat Earth measurement. And when you transpose anything that's actually going to be useful for navigation with respect to a sphere, you're going to be inside the sphere, because the sphere's just become the protractor for the angle measurements off a flat Earth to the stars. That's how Earth actually functions. It functions flat. So you can't censor out of existence the way that Earth is functionally running. So we stay. You just got to suppress us as much as possible. That's the situation we're in. And at that point you go, right, we are such a massive threat, aren't we? Because we're symbiotic with their function of the way they use the world. You can't use it spherical because it isn't. So how do you use it? Flat. What about when you're making a spherical claim? Well, you've got to back engineer the spherical claim into working flat because that's how it functions. So it's dependent on it being flat. That's why we're here. That's why we need mocking rather than censoring. That's why we can't just be deleted. We need to remain around so that when we talk about aspects that they also need, yeah, like celestial navigation, what, we're going to censor them out of existence? You're going to censor Practical Navigator out of existence? Of course not. We're talking about the same subjects. That's why we're still here. So what do you need to do if you've got this very real problem of a lie about a globe Earth? Well, I'll tell you. You create the arguments that a flat earther would be having if they were comporting to your narrative. They'd be talking about ice walls and talking about Admiral Byrd, talking about ether, talking about anything except for how Earth actually functions. Because then you can mock them and ridicule them for the stupid conspiratorial nonsense that flat Earth is. That's where we are 10 years down the line. Me with a smug grin going, our relationship here is symbiotic. You need a flat Earth because that's precisely how it functions when you make your globe claims, isn't it? And we're going to point it out for the next 10 years with ever more extreme requirements being put on us, where you can't censor us because algorithmically it'd censor out of existence your own functionality for the plane we live on. You can't do that. So we're here to stay, aren't we? So ramp up the mocking, ramp up the ridicule, and ramp up the straw man arguments that you say we are having as arguments as flat earthers. Get the stooges out. Here's a flat earther. This is what flat earthers argue about. Not anymore. Not if I've got anything to do about it.
It functions as flat. It has to be measured as flat, but you can think of it as spherical.
You can, after you've measured it flat, to make your assumption of it being spherical. You'll need a flat earth to make that assumption. That's the whole point. They've back-engineered flat earth into their globe religion. And a back-engineering is just that. You've still got the original and its functionality within the now back-engineered functionality of a globe. It depends on a flat earth. I've never been able to figure it out. Why can't they just get rid of us? In the same way, if they didn't like Bigfoot liars or ghost liars, they could just draw a line through their names rather than under them. Why not with us? Why go to the extent of talking to Congress about how we needed to be dealt with? Why can't you just draw a line through us? There must be other wider reaching consequences. There must be something precluding it. Here we are, telling you how Earth actually functions. And it don't matter if you're going to claim that you're using a globe. I'm a globe believer too, because I believe how the globe works is really, really cool. Comes up with all sorts of clever sci-fi. Call me a globe believer, Earth's measured flat. For your globe.
And all their equations that allow them to think of it as spherical require it to be flat as well.
Yep.
So that's kind of embarrassing too, but it's necessitated in the mathematics.
Yeah, orbital motion requires that Earth be measured flat. Those derivations of the angle measurements with respect to a plane have been back-engineered and then put onto a ball. Putting stuff that's measured flat onto a ball still has a requirement for you to measure it flat. And if you're going to actually use it in reality, you're going to function with it flat too. Hence the elaborate dance of flat Earth measurements of stars angled to Polaris, giving you your latitude, to plonk that spherical or concentric circle system, getting ever bigger, onto a ball, to then have massively distorted southern quote-unquote hemisphere with antipodal positioning that won't work with maps anymore. So you project those points on a ball, the points on a ball being measurements of a flat Earth, back onto a cylinder, cut it down the middle, roll it out flat, Bob's your uncle, Mercator projection. That's the world that we actually navigate with GPS. Flat. Why? Well, so it can still function in the same way as the flat plane it was measured and derived from, the latitude and longitude grid. So that works on a flat Earth. It makes me smile so much when people ask me from a working flat Earth map, when all of them are functionally working flat, without exception. But yeah, you've got to distract from their worst failures, if you ask me. That's the propaganda. Why are we cycling through flat Earth nonsense, feast of nonsense, every 10 years or so? Why is that cycle needed? Why do you need to keep the idea of flat Earth in the mainstream? Well, so it's absolutely the definition of controlled narrative from the opposition themselves. You can't have flat Earthers talking about how it's measured flat. You need them to talk about nonsense, because then you can ridicule them, and the majority of the Western world can know that they're on a sphere like we tell them. If they're listening to flat Earthers actually make coherent arguments, rather than that controlled opposition nonsense of ether, then people might take them seriously. They need to know that their arguments are stupid, the ones that we come up with that they're supposed to be arguing. We'll give them to them, let them argue, feel like they're winning, and then give everyone the answers to those stupid straw man arguments, so we can mock them and laugh at them, and then wait till it dies down for another 10 years, and then give the next generation a whole load of garbage straw man flat Earth arguments that no one would ever really conjure in their right mind if they were actually investigating this subject with any reasonable degree of cognition. Nobody is. They're all just regurgitating the YouTube video they watched last, because Admiral Byrd said we've got blah 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 at Antarctica. Wonderful. Yeah, they'll never prove anything with that crap while they speculate about Antarctica. Yeah?
Can I ask you a question, Nathan, if you don't mind?
Yeah, feel free. I'm ranting through the same thing until someone does.
I just didn't want to be, interrupting you, if you're saying something important for your show or whatnot. But my question to you, if you don't mind, is I understand like your whole point for 2024 for maybe debating and Discord and YouTube, whatever, for this conversation. But do you also think that that would work for going out here talking to people in the real world, not just online, about this conversation? Just sticking to the facts of we measure everything, everything's based on it being flat. Because the people that I speak to, and including myself, I guess, if I would go back 4 or 5 years, is going to need more. They're going to have way more questions, and they're going to bring up space, and they're going to need to go down different avenues. So for me, I'm wondering, is this for a debate forum for 2024, or do you think this is for in general?
Okay, I'll answer you. Is it satisfactory if someone says, "What's Earth?" and I say, "Well, would measurements of it suffice?" Would your answer not be yes?
For me, again, it should be the right. Yeah.
So you're in a tete-a-tete with next man, and they say, "What's Earth?" and you go, "Well, if I give you the measurements of Earth, will that suffice? If I show you in physical reality how it's measured, will that be sufficient?" And if the answer is yes, you show them how it's measured flat, or charted flat, or mapped flat, or navigated flat, or built on flat. You show them how it's measured flat. Now, if at that point you're saying, but they then have a lot of things that they need to worry about, maybe rockets aren't real, for example, and how are you going to cope with that? Yeah, at that point, you would need to have a very good understanding of heliocentrism if they're going to throw a load of questions about their own religion at you. And if you don't have the answers, they'll, in cognitive dissonance, in spite of the fact you've just told them it's measured flat, revert to their original religious belief. And in that case, when I've disclaimed this in the opening part of 2024, I've said, this isn't for the guy that wants to go and debate his neighbour. This is for the guy who comes to the show and goes, right, what's the deal with flat Earth? And regardless of if they've seen a whole string of videos about Admiral Byrd and ice walls, and azimuthal equidistant projections with sun and moon floating around above them, regardless if they've seen all the propaganda and straw men that the opposition wants us to be arguing about, if they come to me, they hear how it's measured flat. An unequivocal proof of how Earth is dealt with, navigated, built on, charted. Those are the things that will, if in my humble opinion, I found those things when I got here, I'd have gone, well, that proves it then. Because that's what I was looking for. And I spent 10 years not finding it. Now I want to give that out. And if that doesn't leave people armed to debate it, I've got a back catalogue of 2,000 shows. You know what I mean? Yeah, watch more. And give me money. I'm really poor. Please support the show.
Also, all the questions they will ask, you will be dependent upon the Earth being flat. Like, well, why
I think
do we
Bacon
have
has a
gradient?
question to ask.
Well, what's
Okay, yeah. To summarise John's point, yes, he's saying that you, like I said to the other guy earlier, Ewok, you've got to have balls on you and know it's measured flat to be able to challenge them with their own claims. And John's saying everything that they throw back at you will require a flat Earth for it also. I'll just summarise your point, John, because I know SC Montreal wants to get someone else who's got a question in.
Yeah, I think Bacon wants to ask a question. You there, Bacon?
Feel free.
Yeah, I'm here. Right. Well, let me just see if I understand your guys' position, and then I can ask the question correctly. So in the way you guys understand celestial navigation to work, an elevation angle to a star gives you a circle of equal altitude around the star's geographical position, right?
That's not how I understand it to work. That is how it works.
Sure, yeah. And then by intersecting 3 of those circles, that would give you your position, right?
Yeah,
and also
so far,
that those
pretty good summary of what celestial navigation is. Not bad.
Right. I think I'll be on board with that. The only thing I would like to challenge here is that you can put those 3 circles on a plane and get the correct result as an intersection, because they didn't find an example of that yet. Maybe you guys could provide me with one, but I haven't found anything yet.
Right, you're suggesting that the measurements taken from a plane won't work on a plane. This is McToon's challenge. So I'll give you the same response I've given McToon. I kid you not. I think it's 87 times I gave McToon this response. Your request for how angle measurements that could only be measured on a flat plane work on a flat plane is stupid, because you've acquired the angles from a flat plane. Do you understand?
I understand that claim, but I'm still left with no demonstration of an example where that works.
Oh,
and that's
a housekeeping. It's a housekeeping question. We ask it daily. Perhaps you were unaware. Is there any evidence that you can acquire an elevation angle measurement from a curved Earth?
Oh, I mean, no means argue for the globe here. I'm just trying to see if there's any validation of this method.
Yes, it's saved. Yes, the validation is the countless lives it saved at sea. The reason that my sister, for example, had to be trained in celestial navigation was so that if she got lost, she could use that methodology on her boat or one of her boats to find her way home. And they wouldn't let her out at sea until she did it, because it saves lives at sea. But yet you want me, the flat earther, who's never done this, to provide you with evidence of this method that's trained into people who are going out on the sea as a backup to make sure that they can definitely find their way home by way of measuring angles off a flat Earth. But my question stands in the housekeeping question. Is there any evidence that you can get this life-saving angle measurement for this life-saving tool in a published book called The Almanac to find your way home by measuring angles off a flat Earth? Is there any evidence that you can get those angles that you somehow question in a challenge about whether or not they'll work on a flat Earth? Is there any evidence that they can be measured by any other means other than a flat Earth? Like asked in the housekeeping question daily for many years.
Sorry, I think I was misunderstood. Like, I'm not asking for validation that celestial navigation works. I already validated it. Like, I learned the process. I know how to do it myself. What I'm asking for validation is that those circles of equal altitude are in the same plane. So if there's a method that do draw the circles on a plane and get the correct answer as an intersection, I didn't find any
celestial navigation. Yes, that is the method of doing that. And when you do that method that you're asking for validation of if that method works or not on a plane, it is functionally on a plane and it is used to save lives at sea.
None of the methods I found so far are drawing circles on flat planes.
Stop. You detailed it quite specifically and I applauded you for your definitions. 90 degrees to your position. That's a area of equal elevation, circle of equal altitude. You understand that when you make an elevation angle measurement with a 90-degree GP below the star, that circle you draw out is on a plane. You understand that?
I understand that claim.
Right, stop. So that is affirming that which you are denying now. Because you're saying, I don't see any examples of how this would be on a plane. No, the very process itself is utilising a flat Earth. But then you're saying, I don't see any example of how it uses a flat Earth. Your question makes no sense. The process requires, it's a prerequisite that Earth's flat for this process. I mean, you haven't seen any validation for it. Celestial navigation is the validation for it. That is the process, and it is flat.
The process is not exactly drawing circles on a plane.
Stop. Sorry. The process of drawing circles of equal elevation, according to you, is not drawing circles, that's two-dimensional circles, on a plane. And no, you're just wrong. It fundamentally is exactly that. Why are you being moronic? An area of equal elevation, a circle, is factually a plane in this description. There's no other way to describe it, and yet you're denying it. I ask again, why are you being so moronic? It's an area of equal elevation. You're saying it's not a plane. What's an area of equal elevation? That's the circle that you've just drawn out and described. If it's not a plane, what the hell is it? It's an area of equal elevation. Apparently an area of equal elevation, otherwise known as a circle of, what do they call it? I've got the other name for it. Regardless, that's a plane. It can't be described any other way, but you're denying it.
I haven't denied, actually. I mean, as far as I've been in this conversation, it could very well be in the position to stand for a flat Earth. I never argue for anything other than a flat plane here. What I'm asking is for a validation that those circles on the same plane can actually give you the correct location. Because if you look at the real-life examples of a celestial navigation...
I've already answered this twice. It literally saves people lives at sea. You're asking for validation whether or not these circles of equal elevation, that means they're at the same height. That's a plane. Whether or not this process has been validated. Yeah, they train it into people who go out to sea. I've already answered you. Why are you repeating the same question? Do you not appreciate that saving lives at sea with this process is the validation for the process?
As I already said, I'm not asking for validation of celestial navigation. I'm asking for validation that by drawing those three circles on the same plane, the intersecting location, it would be the correct one. None of the examples I found so far are actually circles being drawn on a piece of paper. That's not what the process actually is.
So when a navigator draws out the circles with a compass on a map that's flat on a chart table, that's not flat.
They're not using the compasses to draw circles of equal altitude. That's not what the compasses are being used for.
That's exactly what they're doing.
Show me one example there. Because I mean,
celestial navigation, for about the 7th time, celestial navigation is the example. That is the process. That is what they're doing. It's called a circle of equal elevation that you say isn't a plane. It is. That's why it's called a circle of equal elevation. The other title for it is a circle of equal altitude.
Don't think it should be that hard to drop an example of 3 circles being drawn and say, okay, this is where they intersect. That's the correct location. Because that's not being demonstrated.
They've been flashing up on my screen for the audience the entire time. I've got examples flashing by on flashcards non-stop of areas of equal elevation drawn out in celestial navigation manuals. From the Practical Navigator. That's Harold Jacobi with his illustrations of boats drawing out circles of equal elevation on a plane to explain to people how to use this process with a flat Earth in case they get lost at sea. And I've explained that my very sister had to be qualified to do it so she could find her position if lost on a flat Earth. But you keep taking us around in circles like I've got no examples of this. Well, okay, go and get Harold Jacobi's book. It's called The Practical Navigator. It depicts it quite clearly, and you have to be trained on it to go on a frigging boat. Now, that is about the 7th time I've said it. Are you going to shut up now? It's done on a plane. That's a flat
I didn't
Earth.
say you don't have the examples. Maybe you do.
Sorry, did you not hear Harold Jacobi on screen for audience with a reference and citation and author, and then describing how people have to actually follow the process to get qualified? Was that just completely ignored? Somebody kick this shithead out. I'm losing my temper with him. He's taking me around in circles saying, yeah, I understand that an area of equal elevation is drawn out in navigation. That's what it's called. But I don't understand how these 3 areas of equal elevation on a plane are on a plane. That's his circular reasoning argument that he's had 5 times with me. I'm tired of it.
It might be because he thinks he knows it's a sphere, so it has to work on a sphere, even though it can't work on a sphere. That's probably the cognitive dissonance being
I don't think he
expressed.
mentioned spheres once.
Yeah, but you do, Bacon.
Okay, so you
I'm sorry.
Okay, you haven't mentioned spheres once. You've used that about 3 times. So you understand and appreciate that Earth is measured flat then?
I'll give you that, yeah.
Excellent. So jobs are good and Earth's measured flat. Can you repeat that?
Sure, yeah, Earth's measured flat. I'm a flat earther now.
Excellent.
Bacon, but
good.
you do claim when you put those 3 circles on a sphere that it works on a sphere. So which sphere are you using?
No,
Because you do
he
claim
didn't claim that. Well, who's putting words in his mouth?
No, he
did not
does.
say that.
Not right now. No, not right now. He does every day.
Well, he didn't say it live on.
He says when
okay, well, there's 102 people listening, Mush, and they heard him say Earth's measured flat because it is. His descriptions of areas of equal elevation, circles. If you're 1,000 miles away from the GP of the star that you're measuring in that instance, you have just measured 1,000 miles of equal elevation. That's a flat Earth right there in that measurement. A measurement of a flat Earth that he just conceded to. There's no way of getting around it. His garbage that he spewed to people when I wasn't here is irrelevant. He's conceded Earth's measured flat because fact, it is. He knows it. I know it.
Welcome to the team, Bacon.
Thanks. I mean, even now that I'm a flat earther, I'm still, like, I was still curious to see a working example of this. I mean, I heard reference to Harold Jacobi. That's fine. I'll look up if there's an example where he draws 3 circles and get the correct intersections. Because as far as I've tried this, it didn't work. As far as I've seen examples of people.
What boat did you go out on? What boat did you go out on? What's the name of your boat?
I didn't use a boat.
Excuse me.
Of the readings
Sorry, so let me get it straight. You're going to now mislead my audience into an idea that, like my sister who went out on boats and had to learn how to do celestial navigation. Are you trained in celestial navigation like my sister was?
No, I'm not.
How the hell would you know? You've not got a boat, you're not saving your life at sea, you're not using triangulation to find your position, but you say it's a failure? How dare you? You're an insult to people who go out on sea, who actually go out and buy boats and learn how to navigate with sextants, like my sister. That's what she did. Yeah? You say it doesn't work? So are you insulting my sister and the people who trained her and the institutions that insisted that she was qualified to do that? Are they all a sham according to you because you say it doesn't work? You outrageous prick. How dare you? Now, when you've gone out on a boat with a sextant, bearing in mind you'll have to be damn well qualified to do this, you can tell me it don't work when you do that. Till then, shut your stupid mouth. This is a process that saves lives. How dare you insult it by saying you don't think it works? You don't understand that areas of equal elevation are a flat plane. You seem to want to deny that. Yeah? Don't worry about what you can't possibly fathom or do or are qualified to do. Don't worry about it. Yeah, just because you can't figure it out, mate. Don't worry about it. There's plenty of books, navigation, books published. Yeah, they're probably way beyond your comprehension. You haven't heard of Harold Jacobi. You need to go and look it up, do you? Oh, really? How dare you tell us that we have got it wrong when there's hundreds of people being trained and qualified in this process on a flat Earth? Yeah? My sister's one of them. You're not. Go and read some books on it and you'll understand more about how Earth's flat, rather than telling us how it doesn't work when it's saving lives at sea. I thank you.
Can I respond to you?
No, you haven't done this, but you're telling us it doesn't work. So we should scrap the institutes that qualify people in doing it then, according to you, because you say it doesn't work, right?
Since you're asking me, I think I should answer.
Should we scrap the thing that people should be qualified so they can find their position at sea? Because you say it doesn't work.
It's not what I said.
Sorry, so it does work. So you understand that celestial navigation is trained into people so that they don't die at sea because it works. You know, they publish almanacs so people can use the stars to find their position if lost at sea with the book they publish. Or are the people publishing the almanac alongside training for navigation to find your position if lost, are they all scammers because you say it doesn't work?
No, I'm saying it does work. I'm saying the process of celestial navigation from manuals does work.
So celestial navigation, you now understand that this flat Earth methodology that you don't seem to appreciate works on a flat Earth when we're talking about areas of equal elevation. You say that you don't understand how 3 points when drawing circles of equal elevation with angle measurements on a flat Earth to stars could find your position. You said it didn't work. Now you're saying you understand that you're, what, a disingenuous shit? And it does work? You've just said it does work. So now we're clear. This process that saves lives does work. It's not you, the arrogant prick, objecting to it because it doesn't anymore. You know it works now. Correct?
No, I didn't object to the method. No. What I object
so you understand the method works then to find your position with 3 circles of equal elevation. You understand that works as opposed to you couldn't get it to work.
That already.
Stop.
Yeah,
Stop. You said you couldn't get it to work, Dumbo. Now I'm asking, regardless of how stupid you are with this process, because you said you couldn't get it to work based on McToon's idiocy. It does work, and people are trained in it so they don't die. Do you understand that it does work regardless of your incompetence?
I didn't say the method doesn't work. What I said
So you didn't say the method does work? So, sorry, stop. Sorry, stop. You didn't say, stop, I need to clarify what you've said by repeating it. You didn't say it does work. No, it absolutely works. It saves lives at sea. You not saying that it does work's irrelevant. You're an idiot and a moron and ignorant and have never read a navigation book, held a sextant, been out at sea on a boat, own a boat or been trained in navigation. But you alluded to the idea that it doesn't work. Now you've just told me you're not saying it does work. Ergo not working. It does work. You were wrong when you claimed your idiocy and failures of a person who doesn't know how to do this process claimed it didn't work. It does. It saves lives. You just need to concede, you little weasel, not tell me that you weren't saying it did work, because that's what you just said.
Oh, there are 2 things in questions. One is the method that people actually do. The other is this claim of drawing 3 circles of equal altitude on a plane. What I'm saying doesn't work is the second, not the first. You're conflating both of them in your response. But I never said the first one didn't work, which is the one you're talking about right now. But I'm saying didn't work when I tried it.
Show me an elevation angle measurement that's not taken from a plane. If you can do that, I'll allow you to go and get a citation that says that 3 areas of equal elevation, all measured with 90 degrees to your position. That's flat plane in all directions to all 3 stars that you're navigating. Yeah, show me that you can get an elevation angle measurement for each of them that's not on a flat plane. Go.
Oh, that's not a margin for. I'm giving you that.
Sorry,
is
that
I said
you?
Already.
Sorry, so all 3 points are measured on a flat plane then?
I'm conceding to that.
Yeah, that's because it's a flat plane, you stupid idiot. You're objecting to it being a plane, but you're conceding that all 3 points are measured on a plane. Do you understand how idiotic your position is now? Because you're conceding to the fact that all 3 points while you rumpus me are measured on a plane. Yes, because it's a plane, mate.
I'm not objecting from this angles being measured from.
So you
plane.
concede it's a plane we're measuring then?
Sure.
Well, that's your objection
That
dealt
doesn't
with.
answer my question.
That's your objection dealt with then. You didn't understand how 3 circles of equal elevation could be on a plane. Yeah, they are. Now you've conceded, you can shut your mouth. I'm done with you. You're incredibly irritating. You've objected for the last 20 minutes that a plane could be 3 areas of equal elevation intersecting. Now you've conceded all 3 points for these angles are measured on a plane. Yet you're dumb and you're irritating and you've wasted our time for 20 minutes. Now sit down and shut up.
I think we agree there.
Shut up! That means stop talking. We all agree it's measured flat. Yeah, Earth's flat. We know you agree, but you object because you don't understand how areas of equal elevation could intersect on a plane. Now you've understood. All 3 angles are measured on a plane. You've conceded. Now shut up. You lost. Your objection was stupid. Now you can shut up. You were formerly a globe believer. You've been educated by me. You've conceded you know Earth's measured flat now. You've still got a bit of cognitive dissonance that says I don't understand how 3 areas that are all measured flat, with areas of equal elevation coming at 90 degrees to your position in all respects measured on a plane, could be on a plane. You understand that, Dumbo? That's your position? Dumbo? You? Shut up. Don't need a response. It was rhetorical. Idiots that we have to deal with.
Boy, if I was in here talking to folks like this, there'd be somebody running across the room to try to damn mute me. But you know, I guess if you're British or it's allowed. I can understand it. I have a strong Southern accent. I get muted for talking, but this guy over here, he's British, which means he sounds like a puppy dog. So even though he's trying to sound
dude, I don't know what you're doing right here.
listening.
We're doing a show though. This isn't the regular scheduled programming here. This is an event. So.
Oh. Well, I just walked in here and dude,
I assume that ordinarily you'd have got away with your string of ad homs about me.
Yeah, appeal to format. To get it back on point, though, there is no area of equal elevation on a globe. They claim there is a drop in elevation. So no equal elevation. That needs to be understood before you go on to claim that you can put areas of equal elevation onto a sphere. That doesn't work. That's a contradiction.
Yeah, spheres don't have horizontal plane.
Did that, what's his name, Semper or something? Did he actually have anything to add beyond his ad homs? Did you have something you wanted to answer or ask, perhaps? Verum?
I don't even know who that was. It sounded
me.
Like
it's Eli, but I mean, I just stepped in to hear that, and I get muted all the time just for even talking. So
now's your chance, mate.
Yeah, we're not doing the
you're off
regular.
mute. Hopefully, no one will interrupt you. Say what you've got to say, my friend. Mike's all yours.
He wasn't saying that.
Did he drop?
He was just here to appeal to format. He was just here to appeal to format, apparently.
Did you say he either cupcaked or dropped? Is that what I just heard?
No, I said kicked.
Oh, I don't think anybody kicked him, did they? Oh, well, that was fun. Typical circle jerk that I was expecting from a fundy. So you say he's typically in here telling you planes on spheres and stuff?
Oh, Bacon's one of the top 10 Globers.
Really? Didn't impress me much.
Apparently not anymore. Now he's a flat earther.
This is the power of the 2024 argument if you know that Earth's measured flat. Yeah, it's a powerful argument.
The Earth is not flat, man. Okay?
Hold on. This is the Hills and Valleys guy. Hold
on. No, let him have his piece. Go ahead.
There's no elevation change on a flat Earth, bro.
That's correct. Sorry, did you want to make the rest of the argument? Bevite, did you want to make the rest of that argument or not?
Workers.
You're supposed to go on to tell me how the deviations in topography with respect to sea level prove Earth's not flat. Did you want to make the rest of the argument?
Seas aren't level though, dude.
Say again? It's like pulling teeth.
I mean, if you thought bacon was a waste of time, this is going to be way worse.
I don't need to hear someone else tell me what he's saying. I just need to hear him. Don't be shy. It's okay. We won't bite.
How is a 40-foot wave level with a 1-foot wave?
Ah, right. You mean sea level is useless?
The surface of the seas aren't level.
Yeah, you have to take an average of it. Yeah, you're right.
40 foot is distinguished from what, sir?
Yeah, that's a good point.
Like the top of a 40-foot wave isn't going to be level with
clarity.
the top
I'm sorry.
of a 1-foot
I'm really sorry
wave.
to interrupt you. He just wants clarity. So when you say 40-foot wave, yeah, how do you describe it being 40 foot exactly? Is there a reference plane to describe that 40 foot with respect to? How do you know it's 40 foot? With respect to what exactly?
I mean, any wave at all, it can't be level.
Yeah, and you're saying 40-foot wave. Is that level? I'm saying, okay, how do you describe it as being 40 foot? What do you reference to give us the height at 40 foot, which you did? Now, before you answer, yeah, we already know our way around this argument. You seem like a novice with it.
This ain't one of Bev's peoples. That shit's just spreading like wildfire.
Yeah, it's okay. Give him a chance. Don't be shy. Don't let the other predators scare you off. Yeah. Do you want to tell us about how you can describe a wave as being 40 foot? Does it have some sort of reference to give us that height with respect to? Second time's a charm. She scurried away into the brush. You're going to need a flat Earth for that 40-foot wave. Excuse me, do you want to tell me it's not flat? The guy was in the middle of telling me it's not flat because of 40-foot waves, described with respect to a horizontal plane. The horizontal plane that's not flat, that you'll describe the 40-foot wave with respect to. Sorry, you were saying? Not flat, you say? Because of how flat you can describe it with respect to, that 40-foot wave, that is? My bad, was I interrupting the argument that I know better than you do? How flat it isn't with respect to how flat it is seems a bit stupid. No? No more. He scurried away into the brush. Shy little creatures that want to say Earth's not flat based on how flat it is. Utterly absurd. Just in case you're still listening, little squirrel, Bev's brainwashed you. Don't give him money. Yeah, he's making you look stupid. Yeah? With stupid claims about how Earth isn't flat because of how things move up and down with respect to how flat it is. Oh my God. Bev is embarrassing for you when you face people like us who understand his stupid, pathetic argument.
It is pretty bad. But I don't think that's Bev's boy. But yeah, that shit's spreading like wildfire though, so.
Hey Nathan, why don't you go get banned again?
Banned from where?
From Discord.
I've never been banned.
Yeah, you have. What happened to your server in the fall of 22?
I haven't got a server. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you did, liar. You got banned from Discord. Why are you back?
Number one, I don't own a server. I have not been banned from Discord ever. Why are you lying?
Yeah, you have. Liar. Why is your account
Sorry, can someone mute this guy? He's now
22?
swearing at me. I have not been banned from Discord. That is a lie. This guy's a liar. So to smear me, my server's been... I haven't got a server. Meanwhile, I have the same account as I have always had with the same number attached to it because I have not been banned from Discord, ever. What, some server was taken down? That weren't me. I don't own a server. I've never started one. This isn't my server. Neither is any server I've ever been in my server. So how could my server have been taken down? It hasn't. This guy's a lying scumbag who's come to smear me, it seems, with lies about being banned. I haven't been banned. That's an outright lie by a scumbag. Not true. Same account, same number, never registered twice, never been banned. Liar. Get lost, liar. Was it because you didn't like me proving Earth was measured flat that you had to smear my good name about being banned from Discord when I haven't? Smear my good name because I prove Earth's measured flat? That's an ad hominem attack and a lie. Is that all you've got because I prove Earth's measured flat to smear me with lies? What an outrage. Not true.
Ironically, he's been banned from here several times. That's not even his real name. His name's Gambino.
It's
he was on your show once.
projection. So he projected the fact that he, the scumbag liar, has been banned from Discord multiple times. I have not, sir. Liar. Yeah, get over the fact that you get banned often because you're a scumbag. I don't. I'm still here on a server that isn't mine. None of them are mine. I've never had a server taken down. I've never started a server.
The first time I heard that guy was on your show, he came in with this robotic monotone voice and just kept spitting globe rhetoric. And QE had to ask him what his favorite color was. Remember that?
I can't remember yesterday's
You guys
show.
thought it was like a recording?
Vaguely.
I'd like to ask a question, please. How is a circle of equal altitude calculated?
Calculated? No, it's measured with an elevation angle.
No, how do they physically go about determining the circle of equal altitude?
Take an angle to a star minus from 90 times by 60. That gives you the distance, therefore the radial value.
Right.
Then you draw a circle.
The circle of equal altitude.
Was the end of the answer to your question concise though it was in requirement of the interruption that you try so desperately not to do according to our last encounter? I was in the middle of answering your question, Brenda.
Man, what is this?
A circle of equal altitude is
was I wrong? Was I wrong? Did you just want to ignore what I replied to you with? Was I wrong?
Yeah,
a circle of equal altitude.
Oh, it doesn't seem to get any acknowledgement. She asked me a direct question and I answered it. It was interrupted at the end and then it had zero acknowledgement. Did the answer scare you, Brenda? Maybe acknowledge
angles of elevation are calculated from the perpendicular to your location.
Measured. They're not calculated. They're measured.
They're measured from the perpendicular to your location.
Well, that means Earth's flat.
No, it doesn't.
So 90 degrees to the star, perpendicular to your position, that's flat. 90 degrees below the star. Excuse me, I'm still talking. Is this you trying not to interrupt like you've been so keen not to do because you're so polite and that? No, you're not. You're rude, Brenda. Very rude. I'll try again. 90 degrees to your position below the star. So if you've got an angle of, I don't know, 10 degrees off the horizon, then you've got thousands of miles between you and the position beneath the star at 90 degrees to your position. That's an elevation angle measurement, not calculation, Brenda, not calculation. Measurement along a flat Earth. It can only be a flat Earth, otherwise you wouldn't have 90 degrees below the star, which is potentially thousands of miles away, to your position, for it to be a right-angled triangle. Now that elevation angle measurement is minus from 90 and times by 60 to give you the radial value of the circle of equal elevation. Nice to get to the end of the answer of the question that you asked and didn't acknowledge the answer of earlier, Brendan. Thank you for letting me get to the end of it this time. So do you understand? Flat Earth
yes,
required?
I understand.
90? You understand it needs 90? That's flat Earth. You understand that, yeah?
It's perpendicular from your location.
Yeah, to 90 degrees below the star.
No, from your location.
No? Excuse me. That's incorrect, Brenda. The GP is 90 degrees to your position. Do you not understand celestial navigation?
I'm not talking about the GP.
I'm
talking about the angle.
I am, because that's part of the angle measurement, isn't it? That's what we're doing when you asked about the circle of equal elevation and how we measure it, Brenda. That's part of the measurement that you asked me about and didn't acknowledge the answer to. The GP is fundamental to that. You're drawing a radial value to its GP. So it's fundamental, Brenda. And that GP, something you wanted to skirt away from, scary maybe, has got 90 degrees to your position along a flat Earth that's being measured with this angle. 90 degrees to your position, thousands of miles of flat Earth, Brenda. Do you not acknowledge 90 degrees at the GP? Do you deny the 90, Brenda? Shh, don't mention 90.
Angles of elevation are not 90 degrees.
No, the GP position, Brenda.
Perpendicular at eye level?
No, I'm talking about the angle of elevation.
At eye level. Is the perpendicular you're speaking of at your perp level or at surface level?
It's 90 degrees from your zenith.
Yes, that's a flat Earth. Then.
Is that at your eye level?
Then it's a flat Earth.
Surface level.
Hold on, just don't need to walk past it. Then it's 90 degrees to a flat plane because that's what you're measuring. The point below the star.
No, you're not measuring to surface level. You're measuring to a perpendicular from your vertical where you are to say 20 degrees above that perpendicular.
So it's a flat
That's
Earth.
That's how angles of elevation are calculated.
So it's a flat Earth then.
Well, no, your eye isn't flat
level.
Earth.
Eye level. Right, your eye level, right? Say eye level because you're using your eye to measure this angle, right? Eye level?
The perpendicular at your eye level that is formed from the zenith at your eye level.
Well, you just finished yourself. Well, so level's perpendicular. Gotcha.
So Earth's flat.
No, your perpendicular is your eye level, right? And angles of elevation are like, say, 20 degrees from that 90-degree angle formed
90?
At your zenith.
Yeah, 90 degrees below the GP. That's the position below the star. That's where you're trying to draw out. You asked me about a circle of equal elevation and how you measure it. I answered you and you didn't acknowledge it. Now you seem to be wanting to deny that there's 90 at the GP. Why would you want to deny a fundamental premise of what ground positions have on this triangle? 90 degrees to your position.
Yeah, circles of equal altitude have nothing to do with the GP.
So the fact that you're measuring with a GP and drawing out a circle of equal elevation with respect to the... is this you being really polite? Is this you super polite to me? Talking through the middle of it? Scary, maybe? Brenda? Higher pitch, maybe? There is definitely 90 degrees to your position at the GP, Brenda.
No, that's not how you measure a circle of equal elevation.
Oh, tell us how you measure it.
That's not how it's done.
Okay, you tell us then. How do you measure a circle of equal elevation?
Right, a circle of equal elevation is that circle formed by those places on the Earth where the angle of elevation to the celestial object is the same. So it's 20 degrees elevation, let's say, from those points on the Earth, forms a circle of equal elevation. It has nothing to do with the GP that's formed later.
So
angles of elevation.
Okay. So all you've done so far is describe a flat Earth, though, Brenda.
No, it doesn't follow.
How does it not follow that what you've drawn out in terms of angles, straight lines, and areas of equal elevation isn't areas of equal elevation, also known as equal altitude, circles of equal altitude? They're equal altitude.
Because I'll tell you why.
I haven't quite finished. They're equal in elevation. They are equal in altitude, Brenda.
Yeah, because the angle formed at your eye, which is taken from zenith, isn't necessarily the surface of the Earth. That's begging the question. You're presupposing your answer.
So why would we be doing this then? Why would we be following this process if it's not the surface of Earth? What were we navigating exactly?
We're navigating the Earth, yes.
So it's simultaneously us finding our position on the Earth and navigating the Earth, but it also has nothing to do with the Earth, these areas of equal elevation. That's areas that have the same elevation. Those have nothing to do with the Earth when they're... Is this the third time you've interrupted this? This is you being super polite, isn't it, Brenda? Like you told me in the politics server. You're trying really hard and failing to be, and failing miserably because you're incredibly rude. Yeah, bullish. Yeah, aggressive, like full of testosterone. Just calm down, Brenda. Yeah, I'm talking about areas of equal elevation that you've just denied having anything to do with the Earth, even though when I ask you what we're doing this for, it's navigating Earth. You seem to be in cognitive dissonance there. Why would that be?
Yeah, angles don't have baselines.
Elevation angles do.
No, they don't. Triangles have baselines. Angles only have rays.
Angles only have rays. Okay, thanks for that, Brenda. I'll take that under advisement.
Right. The angle is formed by the ray coming from the vertex, which is at your eye, right?
Brenda, just to be clear, is a ray curving to make an angle?
Is a what?
Is a ray curving?
No, they do not curve.
So your eye level does not curve. Good job, Brenda. Level doesn't curve. You made it.
It's a line of sight. It's a line of sight to the. It's a line of sight to the celestial object, taken from zenith. Either subtract from the zenith or add from the perpendicular to your point where you are.
I see. And what tool would you measure this with?
How do you have perpendicular in the sphere?
I'm asking you something. What tool would you measure this zenith with?
Sextant.
I see. And what part of the sextant, what mirror would you look at?
The horizon mirror.
That doesn't sound like it's giving me a zenith. It sounds like zenith is something above my head coming down directly through my head, but you say we look at a horizon mirror to get a zenith. I would suggest that that would be establishing a horizontal plane with the horizon as opposed to a zenith angle, as you're inferring. You seem to constantly affirm that we are measuring from zenith. No. As you've just clearly pointed out, the tool measures the horizon. It doesn't measure an angle from a zenith. So it seems that you are fundamentally incorrect about how we measure these angles. So we're measuring them with respect to the horizon then. That would be a straight, flat Earth established with the horizon, not with a zenith, as you've said about 4 times. So could you concede now that we're not measuring it with a zenith, we're measuring it with the frickin' horizon because we're using the horizon mirror, correct? Don't need to affirm. You don't need to affirm. You don't need to affirm. You're disingenuous. You said we're measuring it from zenith. Liar. Horizon.
If
liar.
That's true.
Horizon. Liar. You're not looking at the zenith mirror, you abject liar. You disgust me.
If that's true, then why?
It is true. What do you mean if?
It's true.
You told me horizon mirror, if it's true, after lying about zenith angles. Liar, you disgust me with your bullish, over testosterone charged, constant interruptions with your lies and deceit about zenith angles. Zenith angle with a horizon mirror? Absurd. Lies from a disingenuous scumbag liar. Don't lie to me anymore, Brenda. Your time in this discussion's over. Don't repeatedly tell the audience.
Why is it subtracted?
Don't repeatedly tell my audience that you're measuring zenith angles. And then when I ask how, with a horizon mirror, you disingenuous liar.
Then why is the difference?
Don't ask me something, you disingenuous liar. You've just lied to my audience. You're not measuring zenith angles, liar. Is that not clear? You don't need to keep talking through me.
Answer me.
Get more aggressive for me. You just get that testosterone flowing for us, Brenda, with your aggression that you're trying so hard to contain. Is this you attempting so hard to remain calm with me? Is it there, Brenda? Is this you remaining nice and calm? Try and be a bit more ladylike. Excuse me, I'm talking about how much you lied about zenith angles. You don't get a zenith angle from a horizon mirror. You're a disingenuous liar. Don't ask me anything. I don't want to be asked anything from disingenuous liars. Isn't that clear?
Why is the
Don't ask me anything. I am done with your disingenuous behavior.
You're
not going to ask me anything. You don't have the permission you require anymore, Brenda.
You know that you're a liar.
Excuse me. Somebody telling my audience over and over again that we have a zenith angle, and then when asked how you acquire it, you say from a horizon mirror, it makes you the liar. And now you need to project that lie onto me.
Subtracted?
Excuse me, I'm not being asked anything by you. You're a scumbag.
Why
You're a liar.
is the dip subtracted?
Sorry, I don't want to talk to you anymore, Brenda. I know you want
I know
my
you
attention.
don't want to answer this question because
I
it
don't
shows
want your
that you're
attention
lying
anymore.
about what
Go
an angle
away.
of elevation
Go away,
is.
vile liar. I don't want to be in your presence anymore. Go away.
May I address this, though? Because what she's talking about is the elevation angle is measured from the horizontal. The zenith angle, which you will develop your circle of equal elevation, is subtracted from 90. That angle you just measured, you subtract it from 90 to get your area of equal elevation.
Precisely as I told her originally when she originally, yes, that's correct. I just want to drop in that when she originally asked how it was done, that's precisely what I told her, and she ignored it completely, didn't she?
Yes, and the thing is, you're calculating the distance using that measured angle subtracted from 90. It still requires a flat Earth.
Yeah.
Well,
isn't the dip angle? Isn't the dip angle eye height above the level that you are?
Go on.
Yeah, he's the height above the GP. It's a straight line from you to the GP that you need to correct from.
Yeah, and it's the eye height above the level plane that you are going to.
Yeah. That's correct, because you are above the GP line. You need to correct for it.
Yes. So that's your answer, Brenda. It's just your eye height above the level plane.
Not necessarily. I mean, you can use a artificial level or a bubble sextant, but under the premise that the surface level is parallel with that line that you draw out artificially. Or alternatively, you can use the horizon. What's that? We're measuring zenith angles. No, she's a liar.
Right. The only time you can claim zenith angles is if you're somewhere you can drop like a plumb bob. But the zenith angle is still dependent upon forming a 90 with the surface below you. It's its orientation with relation to the surface of Earth that gives you that 90 to do this. The fact that they appeal to it as if it's some kind of defense, it's a red herring to begin with, but it's not a red herring that helps them. It still requires a flat plane.
Absolutely.
Hey, Nathan, I just wanted to mention earlier the gentleman that had trouble understanding the 40-foot wave versus a 5-foot wave, and his conclusion was the Earth can't be level. He doesn't understand the established level average above the textured surface of the water. And it's the same thing with other people who've been brainwashed to believe we're on a globe. They don't understand that just because Denver is 5,000 feet and all areas near the ocean are sea level, you have to take the average of the entire plane above the textured Earth. It doesn't mean that it's not flat. It is flat.
The fact that you have to go through that at all is embarrassing, if you ask me. You're absolutely correct, first of all, yeah. But the fact that we have to say, what? You think that by suggesting that we have a flat Earth, that I'm suggesting we no longer have any topographical changes? Really? You really want me to argue against this? You're going to really burn this straw man? Okay, fine. Well, but what am I talking about? Bev's made a whole channel about it.
Right. And then one more thought, and I'm going to pass the mic. Every body of water, in my opinion, because I've been a flat earther for 2 years, a swimming pool, a lake, all of those are at the same angle. Even if they're 50 miles apart, 1,000 miles apart, when water finds its rest, it's showing you the same level water. And then Globers will argue, like, you can't say that about a cup of water, and they're talking about surface tension and all that. But I think it's amazing that when you let any body of water settle at rest, it's showing you the same angle across the entire plane.
Well, it's used in building. You know, it's a principle as opposed to, well, I keep forgetting the word, it's axiomatic. So that principle is utilized as opposed to us observing that principle. People have observed it and now use it in practical application to build things. When they level them, they can use water to level them. That's what it's used for. So again, moving into 2024, when it comes to these examples, the straw man that only yesterday we watched Bob and Planet Peterson set up was, well, water finding and maintaining level, what a joke. And then the straw man response from Bob was, oh, well, if it looks level, it is level. Excuse me a sec. Which is kind of what you've just said. No offense. But why not just rest on the fact that that's actually a principle that's utilized when measuring Earth? So lean on the measurement factor rather than the appearance factor, because they want to attack that as the straw man that's been set up in that regard. Like, no. These are things that are practically applied to Earth. Level, water being one of them.
I mean, they got whole cities. I found a citation. I found a citation the other day that says they have, in planar surveying, because somebody told me they would never use rise over run to, a smart surveyor wouldn't use rise over run. However, they have whole cities laid out using planar surveying, off a flat plane.
Yep. They need a flat Earth more than we do.
Geodesic survey.
Go ahead, John.
Why do we need the mean sea level? Sorry, I was going to say, why do we need a mean sea level? Surely, how do we determine the mean sea level at the UK? At the moment, it's Newland, which is the southwest. So, if we have a level, and why do we need a mean? We have a level. Everyone knows what 0 meters above sea level is. So why would there be a mean if it's 0 everywhere? Because surely it would be 0 everywhere, shouldn't it? Because
it changes. Because you have to take an average over long periods of time to get mean sea level.
Yeah, but if you surely dictate that sea level is 0 meters, then everyone sets it to 0 meters. Why would you need a mean? If you think about it and you say it's a mean sea level,
you need a mean, bro. I just told you why you need a mean, because there's tides and waves, so you have to get an average of it to get a mean sea level.
Okay, so if you set it for America, where is America set its mean sea level? And how has it set its mean sea level? Because surely, yes, you got tides, this, then the other, but if you work out what it would be without tides, I don't think you even need that, because for the UK, where we've set ours, is down by the coast at sea level. So it's no different, is it? Man. Unless you've done a mean landing.
Huh? It's just a benchmark. It's just a benchmark. It's a reference point that it doesn't move. It's stationary. It's there that you can refer to, rather than being always referring to the sea level. Because, like it's been pointed out to you, this mean sea level is in reference to sea level. It's just a benchmark that all the elevations are going to be referred to.
Right, but if you exclude the inland areas that are under the sea level, and that's just down to what happened within the land, if you eradicate that, you wouldn't have a mean sea level. You would have sea level. So if you start including the areas that are below sea level that are within the boundaries of the land, you're gonna fucking get wrong answers every single time, or the answers that you want.
Dude, what the hell dude, we get mean sea level, we take an average over time, very long periods of time, we get an average sea level, because the sea level is always changing. There's tides, there's waves, they have to do it over long periods of time. Now we have mean sea level. Do you understand that?
I don't think you're
confused. Pardon me, sir. I can explain this to you. You're taking the reference plane, right, which you're talking about with sea level that changes, is your reference plane. Mean sea level is like your source document that your citation of reference will come from. You understand that? So you're saying all these different horizontal planes average to this mean sea level. You're still dealing.
Yes.
You're still dealing with Earth as a horizontal plane, and you're measuring it.
Okay.
From that mean sea. All right. You don't hear it.
So if we forget about this mean sea level, and I say to you, what is your sea level in America, and I'll tell you what my sea level is in UK. What's yours going to be?
Sorry, what you do is you're
mine's gonna be
taking. Okay,
zero.
guys, can I just answer him?
It's zero, surely.
Hold on. You're segregating off a principle that's been established and measured, an average, to give us a 0 point, as John just explained to you, and saying, well, if I get rid of that, what will you give me over in America compared to what I measure here in the UK? Like, well, your starting point that you said, well, these points that are below inland, well, below what? You've got to have a reference point measured in the first instance to get a arbitrarily ascribed 0, as you described it. What's 0 inland? What are you saying is below 0 inland? Well, that's only
I
been
said you.
my bad.
Listen,
My bad. It's like you don't want the answers.
Right, stop. So I said we don't include the areas inland that are below sea level.
It's because they're not. It's because they're inland. When you're averaging a sea level, you're not going to do it inland, are you?
Exactly. So then why would we need a mean if America is the same as the UK?
You've had the average. You've had the answer given to you 4 times.
Yeah, dude, you can't do anything without getting an average. Otherwise, if you go out there, the sea level is going to be constantly changing. What, one day your building's this tall, the next day your building has a different elevation. Mountain elevations will just be changing from minute to minute. What are you talking about? Oakley, did you have something else?
Well, I could take places that don't. I could take places that don't have tides and set it from there. I could go to the middle of the Pacific Ocean. Me and you could shake a hand and say East Hemisphere, West Hemisphere will shake a hand at the sea level at this island. But then it's going to be the same anyway.
Yeah, there are tidal nodes that have no tides. I hear you on that.
Okay, so is your point that it's arbitrary? We've decided on this convention based on measuring how high or low seas are as an average. Yeah, it is. It's arbitrary. Yes. Okay.
The mean sea, if the actual sea level was 2 meters different to what it should be, would that change your perspective of what we're seeing in the sky by 2 meters? It could be 4, it could be 10 meters. If you go down to Bournemouth Beach, you see that Bournemouth Beach has been lifted up at least 10 meters, right? So the question is, what is the actual sea level? And surely it's all going to be the same. Yes, you know, the tides, this and the other, but we can unreverse that and incorporate things like, well, we know it's happening, blah, blah, and we'll get the actual sea level. So to have a mean sea level, what are we meaning it's against?
Okay.
It's
let me answer your question. Okay. In terms of it being arbitrary, yes. Okay. You can describe it in that way if you wish. In terms of what use it is, you asked about what difference does it make to the sky. But it doesn't. So long as you've got an arbitrarily ascribed 0 point that you all agree on, that's an average of all of the level ocean that you're going to be travelling on, give or take, then it makes no difference whatsoever to the measurements of the celestial items that you'll be using to navigate. It will always work with respect to a horizontal plane of reference. Hence, navigation has no elevation changes. They aren't necessary. As long as you can establish what you're going to use to level your tool, if it's the horizon, then you need to know how high you are above it. But beyond that, everywhere's level. Now, like I say, because you've been told 5 times now, the oceans are going up and down as you go out and around the world. So you need an average to arbitrarily ascribe a 0. It wouldn't matter if what we call 0 turned out to be 1. And you're saying, well, the points inland that I measure, if I compare that to the average taken globally of sea level, what I've got at this coast is a metre higher. Now, if I said, okay, let's all shake hands around the world and agree that that's 0 now, what was 1, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so if I were to ask you, so I'll just tell you. So the last time I looked up, it said the average land elevation across the world was 800 meters above, right? So it's surely, I know obviously it's got nothing to do with land, but surely that's a more definitive answer without any fluctuations, right? And doing this and doing that. So all I was trying to say is that if you're taking your measurements.
Yeah, it's like with the waves.
Of what?
Above what? You're saying 800 meters. The average is 800
Is the
meters.
average land elevation. The average sea elevation is about 2.4.
Stop. The average land elevation has been derived with the average of the sea elevation. So when you say the average land elevation, it's dependent on that measurement that gave you the arbitrary 0 point, what we call mean sea level. So to describe that 800 feet in the first instance, you've got to have a level to describe it from as an average of the heights overall. You still need a level reference plane to describe this land. And it doesn't matter where you put the 0. It doesn't make any difference.
You're having trouble distinguishing between the source plane, which is your mean sea level, and your plane of reference. You're not understanding the difference, and you keep asserting that it's somehow relevant. I'm sorry, wrong.
There are no elevation changes in navigation. Everything runs parallel to the ground. Regardless of if the sea's a bit higher at that particular moment, your measurements for the points on the ground, GP positions for the stars that you'll navigate with, are always parallel to the ground. If you draw an artificial horizon and you're at 30,000 feet, the measurement you take is still parallel to the ground in all instances. So where 0 is, or the average of the sea, because the land, well, where do you say where 0 is? Sometimes the sea's above that bit of land, but sometimes it's below it. So what? You need an average then, because you can't arbitrarily ascribe it. And the water moves up and down. So you get a general idea to agree by consensus that we'll call this 0. Not that it makes any difference. If I decided to call what you call 0 5, it wouldn't make any measurement differences when I went out at sea to measure my angles to stars. The process would be identical regardless of what I decided to arbitrarily ascribe as 5 for sea level, rather than 1 or 0 or -1. It doesn't make any difference because everything's running parallel to the ground.
This might be because he's mistaking celestial navigation for trigonometry. I think that might be where his misunderstanding is coming. You're not trying to figure out the height of the stars or trig out that function. You're not doing that with celestial navigation.
Right. With that, I'm going to say if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley premiering streams, then stay tuned as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So I'm going to do a few shout-outs of people who smashed the super chat during that discussion. See if I've missed any viewer activity. Let's have a look. Shout out to James Mays, who's smashing the super chat. He says, go back to sleep, bacon. Indeed, he's flat earther now, though, so yeah, one of us. Also, shout out to Duncan McLeod. Was I on mute for that sneeze? Let's hope so. In Euclidean geometry, circles can only be drawn on a plane. Absolutely correct. Thank you very much for the super chat. Once again, stay tuned if you're watching on either premiering stream. I've been Nathan Oakley, and I will see you all in the next video.
What a lovely day!